Here are my current glazes formulated to fit the dark brown stoneware clay I use. The most recent development is that dark one on the right, and I like it very much, but the way it is applied to achieve that result is pretty cumbersome, and I'm not entirely keen on the undertones of it. The dark clay is a key part of the effect of my glazed work. My glazes vary in opacity, the white being the most and the dark being the least, the warm gray somewhere in the middle. Try to think of what it would look like to see a black piece of paper in a semi-transparent plastic sleeve. The black dominates the transparent cover and would do that even if the cover wasn't even perfectly clear, but tinted even ever so slightly. That's what's going on. It looks like a black glaze, but it's actually quite green, and you'll have to believe me because I can't find the test tile that demonstrates that best on white clay. So, on my way to a truer black, I started with a base glaze that I previously formulated but had little explored. But among its original tests, it showed promise for its ability to convey color with the least distortion when used over that dark clay. Everything pottery comes down to the raw ingredients, the elements and molecular properties of each, how they combine to react in the firing process. It affects melt, opacity, sheen, the way the glaze uses color or refracts light. Instead of using oxides as colorants, as I did with the original, I used mason stains here, which are a lot more direct, but their raw ingredients still really matter in the kiln. Brushed over light-colored clay in varying thickness and using only combinations of brown and black stain, you see clearly browns, greens, and blues in all but one of these six, which to my eye is showing pretty true black. Here are the light clay tests alongside their dark clay counterparts. If you were only looking at the dark ones, several of those tests could be lumped into a black color, but they're not. Except that last one, which I think is pretty true. So here's what I came up with. In my left hand is the original glaze I was using with the greenish tint, and the right is where I've landed. Let's look at it side by side, and for comparison, like the eye doctor, better one or two? One or two? Here it is in different light with the little cups. That's the new black with my standard opaque white and warm gray. And here's a different lighting and a comparison. The original in my right hand and the test tile and the cup are the new one. This is a pretty good illustration here to see the greenish tint of the one on top. And this is an unrelated test to my fiddling with color, a new way to finish my raw clay unglazed with a terra sig recipe that I made, which is a really fine particulate of clay separated in a solution and then coated on leather hard clay that gives it a bit of a burnish, a bit of a sheen. The white is just gloppy white clay on top of my brown clay, and that is not silky but pretty rough, but could be cool for sculptural stuff. I just thought I'd add that in there at the end so we could stop talking about black glaze.